Hi, Susan.
Hi.
So we've been getting a lot of comments and emails about your weight loss. So I've been telling people that we're going to make a video sometime, and so this is it. And you've lost over 50 pounds. That's absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you. It's You're just such an inspiration, and I've got a lot of questions that I want to ask you so that our viewers know exactly how you did it. So let's start with, how did you get out of shape?
Well, years ago I used to work out quite a bit, and about 10, 12 years ago, I got pretty sick. It's a health issue that I still deal with, but at that time it was at its worst, and I lost a lot of weight, almost to the point of dying, and it was uh, it was pretty serious. But as I started to recover, um, I was on medication that made me kind of put on weight, and I was wanting to gain weight at the time. And when I got to the back to my normal weight, I continued to pretty much eat the same way. And as you get older, you just tend to naturally put on weight. So in combination with, all of those things, I just gradually over the last 10 years just started getting heavier and heavier, almost to the point of nearly weighing 200 pounds.
Yeah, and so what was your physical and mental state of mind? I mean, you basically, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of seemed like you'd almost conceded, like you
Yeah,
came
I,
to.
I kind of just accepted the fact that, oh well, that was the way it was going to be. That I felt like I was being active enough. I was eating not more than any other normal person, so that was just the weight that I was going to be at, and I just had to accept it. It was I didn't have any hope of really changing that.
So what changed? I mean, what was the catalyst?
Well, it's kind of weird. One day I looked down and I noticed the fat over was starting to roll over my kneecaps.
Oh no.
And I thought, this is not right. This is not how this is supposed to be. And it kind of made me think, maybe I do need to do something about this. And a couple days later, I was doing the laundry and picked up a magazine that happened to be there in the laundry room, and was reading about some actress that had gotten a fitness tracker, a Fitbit, and was just obsessed with her steps and making sure that she was getting her steps. And something in that just clicked with me. I don't know. It seemed like that was a good thing to be obsessed with, was, getting enough exercise. And so I didn't think too much more about it until a couple days later. We were in a department store, and Bernie said, oh, look at these fitness trackers, these Fitbits they have here. Do you think that's something that might help you? And it kind of clicked back to that article, and I said, I think it might.
Yeah, how does your Fitbit actually help you to lose weight in a nutshell? How
Well,
is this helping?
it tracks your movements, how much you're moving, and you keep track of your calories in and calories out. And everyone knows that's the secret to losing weight, is to burning more calories than you're taking in. So it helps you to keep track of those things.
All right, let's go over some of those things in detail. So let's talk about movement. You mentioned that. How does tracking movement work?
Well, it counts your steps. It calculates how many miles that is, how many active minutes you've been in a row, what type of exercise, whether you're walking, running, doing an elliptical, counts how many flights of stairs you've gone up, and then, of course, how many calories you're burning doing that.
All right, so calories, it's keeping track of how much you've consumed and how much you've burned. Now, the counting calories or tracking calories part for me seems like that could be a big hassle.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. I lose a lot of people there when they ask, how did you lose the weight? They want the answer to be, oh, I sit on the couch and eat Ben and Jerry's and take a magic pill. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You have to keep track of what you're eating to know if you're being active enough, if you're creating that calorie deficit every day. So you do have to log the calories, but with the Fitbit in particular makes it pretty easy. It has a feature that you can just scan a barcode if you're eating a packaged food. It has a search feature where you can search on whatever food it is. It has over 300,000 foods and restaurants, and if that doesn't work, you can always go to the website of the restaurant that you're eating at, and they'll have a nutrition page with the calories so that you can kind of figure out how many calories that you're going to eat. It has a customized feature where, all of us seem to have a few go-to meals that we eat pretty regularly, so you can just calculate the calories for that once and divide it by how many servings it is and put that in as a custom food. So whenever you have spaghetti, you just click on spaghetti and it adds it there. And then it has a quick calorie function that, if none of those things work, you can just add them up and enter it that way. So it really makes it pretty easy.
All right. Well, it still sounds a little much for me, but I've noticed that you probably wouldn't do it if it was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're not capable, but just that you probably wouldn't bother as much as you have to do it. And, it does, I'll admit, it does look easy the way that you're doing it.
Yeah, another tip is I use, since you kind of have to measure, after a while you'll get an idea of what a serving looks like, which is much smaller than what most people think it is. But one tip that I use is, instead of using a serving spoon or a big giant spoon to scoop things out, I'll use a measuring cup, a half cup or a quarter cup or whatever, as my scoop, so I know that if I'm having a scoop, I know how much that is. And that works pretty good to be able to keep track of how much I'm taking in.
That's great. So it tracks other things. I notice you're always putting other stuff in or doing other things with it. What are some of those, and how do those help you?
Well, it tracks, you track your water. You have to drink 64 ounces of water to hit your goal every day. And my particular one tracks heart rate, which I don't really pay attention to too much unless I'm doing something really active and I want to check on that. And it tracks your sleep, which is another thing that a lot of people don't consider is very important in weight loss. If you're not getting enough sleep, it's really difficult to be able to lose weight. So it tracks your how many times you've been awake during the night, how many times you were restless, tossing and turning and not sleeping. So you really get an accurate idea of not just how much time you're in bed, but how much time you're actually sleeping.
And you're wearing this through the night?
24/7, yeah. Except when it's charging when I'm in the shower.
Okay. And the sleep thing is very important, obviously, because if I know that when I don't get enough sleep, I feel sluggish and everything. So you're probably not going to be motivated to do as much without proper sleep. So I think a lot of people understand that. So give me an example of what the course of the day looks like with your fitness tracker. I mean, go over the course of a day, how you interact and use this.
When you wake up, you turn off the sleep log and check what your sleep pattern was for the night, and then just start entering every time you have a glass of water, whatever you eat for breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. I check the steps frequently throughout the day, especially if I haven't been particularly active, to make sure that I'm going to be able to get those my step goal for the day, which the step goal starts at 10,000 steps, which for most people is about 5 miles. Depending on your stride, that varies. For me, I found that 11,100 steps is actually 5 miles, so I reset the goal for 11,100 steps. And there's been more than one night that I've been up at 11:45 walking in place to make sure I get my 11,100 steps at least.
Yeah, I know that very well.
Yeah.
So, why does this work for you? I mean, there's so many things out there. You hear, I mean, it's just constant.
Yeah.
Everyone's bombarded with ways to lose weight. Why do you
Right.
feel that this actually works for you and has worked for you?
Yeah. Well, this is working for me for two reasons. One, it keeps me accountable. It doesn't let me make excuses like, oh, I took the dog for a really long walk. I can probably go ahead and eat this cupcake. Because I've kept track and kept my calorie intake on record, I can look at my budget, my calorie budget for the day, and say, no, I really can't have that. Or maybe I can have half of that or whatever. And it really helps me to stay constantly in that budget and not let me use the excuses and talk myself into, oh, it's okay to not get those steps, or it's okay to eat that, or I didn't eat that much, I don't really need to walk 5 miles today. So it helps in that respect. And another way that it works for me is that because of Bernie, I've had someone that's been very, very supportive of, you know, keeping on track. Did you get your steps? Do we need to go for another walk? Do you want to, if it's cold, do you want to just go to the mall and walk back and forth to make sure that I get my steps? It's been great having somebody that's been so supportive and not, you know, giving me a hard time that I should be doing something else or whatever, and realizes the importance of this. And so that's why it works for me.
Well, thank you for that, and I am very proud of you. How has this changed your life?
Well, it's definitely helped with the illnesses that I deal with. It's helped me feel better. It's helped me make better choices to eat. Because if I have 400 calories left in my budget, I can choose a chicken breast and a cup of rice and a big pile of green beans, or I can choose a donut. And I'm probably going to be not having the energy to get my steps in and not feel that great if I have a donut for dinner as opposed to, you know, chicken and vegetables. So
Yeah, and that brings me to what I'll just call the missing link. You know, in the backpacking and hiking world that I've been a part of for many years, there's hikers and long distance hikers particularly that are under the impression, or maybe at least for the hike, that, you know, I'll just eat as many Snickers bars as I want, eat a stick of butter, drink olive oil and cream and
Right.
things like that, because I can take in massive amount of calories because I'm only burning them off. But that's only part of the story, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it is. When you've got a certain caloric budget that you're trying to stay within, you really want to make the choices that are going to give you the most bang for the buck nutrition wise.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also coming to the point where you realize that even more resistance training and things like that could be, you know, added in so that you're toning and you're actually
Right.
gaining muscle too, that you're
Yeah.
not just losing weight.
Yeah,
right?
and that's going to be my next step, is incorporating that.
Yeah, well, I know that you'll do it. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Well, I just I know that this, you know, works for me, but it's not going to work for everybody. What I encourage people to do is to find whatever motivation or habits or whatever it is that's going to work for you, and don't think of it as going on a diet or just planning to lose weight. It has to be things that you are going to maintain for the rest of your life. You know, I don't see not ever having this from this point on, because it's always going to be that reminder to keep me where I want to be. And it encourages me to weigh myself once a week so that I can make sure that I'm not letting that slip away. And if I see, oh, I gained 2 pounds this week, then I know instantly I need to make some adjustments, and I'm not going to let it just run wild and go 10 years and look back and go, wow, the 50 pounds is back along with 10 or 20 more. So just find whatever it is that you can stick with and change and maintain.
Yeah, that's outstanding advice. And you know, there's some people that might say, when you mentioned that Bernie has been of support, that some people don't have that type of support. But understand that there's actually ways that you can share with other people your progress and actually friend people through.
Yeah, with the Fitbit, there's, you know, you can have friends in your community, other people that you know, people that they know. You can have competitions that, you know, with each other. Set a weekend goal to, you know, accomplish so many miles over the weekend. Different things that you can do to challenge yourself against either yourself or against other people, other friends that you may have in there. So there's ways to find support. So yeah, and that's a big thing.
And so you've actually lost all of this weight over the course of how many months?
About 10 months.
No, it's absolutely amazing, because you did it in a way that I think was very impressive. You stuck with it, and it's continuing, because it's become a lifestyle, and you really do have to make things habits. Just like there's bad habits out there, you have to make good habits and stick with it and make it something, like you said, sustainable and manageable.
Right. And small goals. And that's another reason that I liked the Fitbit, was I didn't start out with the idea that, okay, here's this big goal, I want to lose 50 pounds. It was, I want to make the Fitbit lines go green every day, because when the line goes green, that means that you've met your goal, and every step is a green line that I feel like is something that I've accomplished. So every day I'm competing against that green line and just those little goals. And the side effect of that, fortunately, was the weight loss. But to just make it little things for each day, rather than looking at that big, huge thing that I have to lose all this weight, and it kind of discourages you if you do that, I think. So just little goals.
Well, thank you very much for sharing all of this, your extraordinary weight loss, with the world. And I'm so proud of you, and I hope that a lot of other people out there change their lives.
I hope so too. Thank you.